Hello, my name is Keenan Brown. I am from the Western Catholic University here in Angers, France, and I'm completing my MBA currently, and which is where I came up with the idea and started writing this paper that I will present to you today, which is entitled Green Marketing, Greenwashing, and Generation Z, Discovering How and Why the Younger Generation Reacts to Companies' Ecological Actions. And so we'll get into some of the market trends and facts that have inspired this paper to be written. And so first, we'll look at the fact that there's a growing market trend for green products around the world. For example, just between 2009 and 2010, there was about a 73% increase in products that we can find on the market from a study done by Szabo and Webster in 2020. Um, there's definitely more of a presence of all sorts of products whether it's cosmetics, um, within the food industry, or even coming down to clothing industry and the emphasis on recycling clothes as well is something that is undeniably present and something that's becoming more and more common to see. The next aspect is the fact that green marketing has become pretty common. And so green marketing will be referring to anything as any form of advertising that states or implies an environmental benefit. So this could be something that for uh, sunscreen, for example, there's no chemicals that will harm the ocean life that you might come into contact with by entering into the water. It could be some packaging that uh, from food product that said it will biodegrade within a certain amount of time. Any sort of environmental benefit, which can be quite broad. And so it has been observed that green marketing has experienced particularly rapid growth within the United States and now constitutes a market worth 250 billion US dollars annually in the United States alone. So that is something that is only within one country that can amount to 250 billion. So it is something that is becoming more and more interesting for companies to wish to pursue um, such an effort, especially in the green marketing. And so there's a difficulty when it comes to a certain segment, and a segment that's going to be more important in the coming years. And that is specifically Generation Z. Um, Generation Z and millennials have sort of been put into a similar category for most marketers as some people that are hard to reach and for whom traditional marketing actions and strategies don't seem to be effective. And so most of this Generation Z at the moment is or is constituted of people that are not independent, so they are under their care of their parents or guardians, and their buying power is predominantly influential. So can they influence their parents to buy something? Nevertheless, the buying power of Generation Z is estimated to be between 49 million and 148 million. And as digital natives, they have been found to have a very short attention span. Um, and so for digital communication and advertising, they need to be quite quick, effective, and straight to the point. And for green marketing efforts, this might not be as obvious as it may appear at first. Then there's this idea of greenwashing that's becoming really important, especially in terms of the relationship between Generation Z and what this greenwashing is doing. So greenwashing is when marketing efforts of a business actively promote practices, products, or services that do not accurately represent a business's environmental conduct. The reason why this is really important, especially in terms for Generation Z, is because about 47% of respondents for Generation Z said that they switched a product or service because a company had violated their personal values. Um, and the leading cause was the environment. And so when a consumer from Generation Z figures out that the company's in fact lying, it is even worse than unethical practices being known. It's them trying to hide it, and can lead into very negative effects for the company, which gets us to cancel culture, which is um, a movement on predominantly social media where consumers or individuals will try to um, ruin the reputation of a company or person based on unethical actions that were carried out by this person in question. And it can cause many people for a very long time to boycott. And this is something that obviously most companies wish to avoid. And so for the learning objectives of this paper that I've written is to understand and predict Generation Z purchasing behaviors. And so we wish to uncover social, political, and environmental motivations of the purchasing behaviors of Generation Z, because they're such a critical and crucial segment that has a lot of influence, especially through digital platforms. We want to learn what to avoid in green marketing campaigns to avoid being accused of greenwashing, something that is becoming more and more strict. Even greenwashing may not be on purpose. Sometimes between the marketing department and production, sometimes certain information isn't fully conveyed or misunderstood and can cause very negative consequences. And so we want to emphasize why attention to detail is critical in this field and why a small mess up can lead to enormous consequences, and to detail how to build trust and sidetrack any risk of greenwashing. And so this Generation Z is also a segment that is really hard to gain their trust because they are very skeptical, especially the larger the company is, the more that they will not initially believe what is being said, unless if there is a strong way of showing them your trustworthiness through labeling, certifications, and a various amount of other strategies. And so the research approach of trying to find the answer to all of these learning objectives is going to mainly come from this purpose, this one question, where it boils down to is how to find the answer to best market to Generation Z. And so to be able to find this answer, we'll be using Ajin's planned behavior theory analysis to uncover what we are trying to find. And so Isaac Azin's is a famous theory of planned behavior, is based off Martin Fishbein's theory of reasoned action with a little bit of extra criteria that he added on. And so for him, he is looking at three specific criteria in his planned behavior theory. And so these are attitudes, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control. All three aspects make up what is called behavioral intention. And so attitudes refer to a subject's disposition towards a behavior, while subjective norms look more towards the subject's environment. And so when we are looking at, for example, a Generation Z consumer, their attitude, for example, might be they wish to to have the least amount of waste and negative impact on the environment when they buy. And there is also behind this attitude a social norm that is playing on to why they have this attitude and why it's built. And so we kind of want to uncover what this attitude is coming from. And so how will we uncover the source of these attitudes? It can come through qualitative data that will be carried out through focus groups. And so um, qualitative in this study is very essential because it is not something that can quite fully be explained by quantitative methods, because it's very nuanced and can change from person to person. And to be able to capture the real reason or motive behind varying situations, qualitative data is necessary. And so the social norms or motivations that could cause Generation Z to wish to buy something that is a green product can come around three basic poles that we've identified, which is a political, environmental, or social influence, and how these are weighing between each other and where the root cause is coming from. And so this study aims to be unique because of the interdisciplinary approach to a trendy product. And it's looking about social behavioral sciences and political science and environmental, all to come to this understanding of marketing. And so what are the details of the focus groups? So for all participation, it will be anonymous. The point of this is to allow people to speak openly without feeling judged. There will be a varied participant profile list. So we're going for people in different situations. So maybe someone in university versus a high school student, someone who's working part-time, full-time, artisanal, or customer service. So there's a wide amount of opinions and people in different situations. These focus groups will be held in person, and there will be a series of questions asked to each of the participants, and they will be handed a sheet with important terms for them to understand different concepts that they might not have understood before, just so everyone can be on the same page in participation. And there will be an overview of what the topics discussed will be, so they can prepare. There will be an open discussion with equal amounts of time allotted to each person so that no one participant will be dominating the conversation. Then there will be a question and answer portion at the end of this session for the focus group. And there'll be a purchasing log for those that wish to participate in this aspect, where they can log down what they buy throughout the week and how it is or is not influenced by any sort of green marketing. So as you may have understood, these focus groups have not yet been carried out, and it's something that will be completed during my second year of MBA studies. And so the next steps are to finalize the questionnaire that I have started for these focus groups, is to strategize my outreach to get participation in a sufficiently diverse manner, and then refining my methodology into how the focus groups will be carried out, and then setting an analytical lens that is appropriate for the responses that I get. And so here finally are my contact information. So again, I'm Keenan Brown, and this is my email. So thank you for listening.